YouTube? It's What YouTube Movie Line back with another reaction video. Today we got This Is Getting Out of Control. Jimmy
Kevin
Hyro,
Durant, LeBron James, Anthony Davis,
Stephen
LaMelo
Curry,
Ball, Luka Doncic, Cade Cunningham, Tyrese Halliburton, Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns, Zion Williamson, and these 78
I can 100% say this is speaking on injuries. Watch.
other players have in common. I'll give you a second to think about it.
Injuries.
There's a lot of guys here, different teams and situations. It's
Luka?
injuries.
Okay,
all
it is injuries.
88 of these players are either out or day to day due to injuries.
Telling y'all, I
NBA
said this
players
every video. Every time you click a video to watch your favorite hooper hoop, the nigga is injured. Every week, a nigga is injured, like, bro, or just not playing. Like, it's really annoying and stupid. This whole league is ruined. It's just like, bro.
Can't stay healthy. And no longer is it just the
Nigga slipped on a banana peel.
injury-prone players being sidelined. It seems like no
Kuminga,
one
bro.
can avoid both small and severe injuries. And the weirdest part is that no one can figure out why.
Facts. And no offense to the NBA players, but I just don't. It don't make sense that, like, bro, niggas roll their ankle. I roll my ankle like 10 times while hooping, and I fight through that shit. Not even fight through. I just hurt. Get up, hoop. You niggas swear y'all gotta be out for 3 weeks. That should be annoying, fam.
Today's video
I got everything in the world to be a extreme athlete, but still just injured every day.
Today.
Some in your body tearing a muscle different, but
in the
ankle roll,
2002-2003 NBA
aggravation
season,
in
Michael
my
Jordan
elbow,
played in
like,
his last NBA game. And at 40 years old, Michael managed to play all 82 regular season games that year. Looking back, this seems like an extraordinary feat for an aging legend. But 20 years ago, it was fairly standard to play every single game. In fact, that same season, Kevin Garnett didn't miss a single game. Kobe Bryant didn't miss a game. Steve Nash didn't. Neither did Allen Iverson or Stephon Marbury. Even the 7'6" Yao Ming played all 82 games that season. Fast forward 20 years, and in a league where injuries and load management had
LeBron probably played like 15 games this season. KD probably played a whopping 20. Who else been injured? Tyrese Halliburton played like 3.5. Like, niggas just always injured.
There is only one all-star level player who hasn't missed a single game all season.
Give it to him.
But this is just the tip of the injury-riddled iceberg, because this season there are only 12 players who haven't missed a single game. 20
Didn't Mikal Bridges play?
There were 46 players who didn't miss a single game all season. What's going on here? Why can't NBA players stay on the court?
It's crazy.
With advancements
it's like
in training, nutrition, recovery, the amount of money these players are spending on their bodies, the world-class facilities and staff to keep them in impeccable condition. How are these players incapable of staying healthy? Well, we have some theories, but I'm not sure if anyone has an answer. There are currently 88 players throughout the NBA listed as out or day-to-day due to injuries. That is 20% of the entire league sidelined because of injuries. Over the last week, videos have surfaced from around the league of multiple players getting injured in the middle of their pre-game warm-ups, which has only shined an even brighter light on this issue that has been getting worse and worse each season. NBA players just can't stay healthy, and no one knows why. Despite the vast research and studies that have been poured into uncovering exactly why NBA players just can't stay healthy, there doesn't seem to be any clear-cut answer. Some factors point to the cumulative amount of wear and tear pro athletes today have gone through by the time they're in their mid-20s. Some studies have pointed towards the increase of dynamic in-game movements as the main culprit. But at most, these are just theories. Legendary NBA trainer Tim Grover, who worked with the likes of Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and Dwayne Wade, attributes many injuries in the NBA today to simply not enough weightlifting. As players have shifted more and more towards sports-specific workouts and movements, their bodies have almost become unfamiliar with simple things like repetitive body weight impact and quick changes in momentum.
You build a foundation by lifting weights. You have so much more resources, less contact, and more injuries. It's mind-boggling to me. It's because everything is rubber band, everything is resistance, everything is cable. When you get hit, when you jump, when you land, there's no pulleys, there's no cables. Your body weight is the metal. You have to learn how to explode with it, and you also need to learn how to land with it and how to stop it. And that's what metal does. It teaches you to lift it, but it also teaches you to put it down. Accelerate and decelerate.
Grover also speculates that it's not what
Zaya,
the players
have
are
you
doing
played
today that leads
more
them
than
to
3 games?
injuries. It's what they've done in
Hey.
the past. In an article published by Sports Illustrated back in 2014, Grover explains, players aren't sustaining these injuries because of the games they're playing. They're getting these injuries because of the number of practices and games they've already played. Hundreds of games, thousands of hours since they were old enough to pick up a ball. Pee-wee, youth league, summer camps, travel teams, AAU, high school, college. A relentless schedule of games, practice, travel, and training, sometimes for multiple teams and leagues, with
That's
multiple
what they gotta do to
trainers
get
and
to the
programs.
NBA.
No time to play or train for other sports. End result, the same muscles, ligaments, tendons, and joints are used over and over again in the same direction, the same angles, the same motions. What piece of machinery doesn't eventually give out from repeated use over many years? At some point, the body just says, enough. Now, this theory of players putting far too many miles on their body by the time they reach the pros seems to be one of the more popular and accepted theory on these injuries. Another solid explanation for the rise of injuries around the league says the answer can be found in how the game is played today in contrast to how it was played in the past. 3 decades ago, the game wasn't nearly as spaced out as it is today. A more compact court means less ground to cover, less cuts, less movement, and less opportunity to get hurt. Instead of chasing shooters around for 48 minutes, offenses were usually played from the inside out. So defense was focused in the trenches, around the basket, where you might bang a knee or catch an elbow. Fast forward to today's game, and no player is exempt from playing cat and mouse for 4 quarters, running around screens, making 90-degree cuts at full speed, attempting to cover 15 feet in a split second as you close out on a shooter, and then forcing your body to come to a stop on a dime in an effort to not crash into him. These movements are violent. Your joints and muscles and ligaments can only move and stop and start like this so many times before they shut down. Years ago, the NBA just wasn't played at this speed, and the off-ball movement and spacing wasn't nearly this complex. But what do the players think? I mean, they are the ones experiencing this influx in injuries after all. Well, just a couple weeks ago, Paul George touched on the subject in an interview with JJ Redick and stated that players are getting injured more now than before because they don't practice enough. Which sounds counterintuitive, but his reasoning makes sense.
Now they're like, teams don't really practice. You know, we're not getting up and down. You know, there's just, it's a lost art when it comes to that hard practicing. And I think that's why there's so many injuries that's going on, because guys that have a high load day and then a completely off day and then a high load day. You know, back then it was, you practice hard, you got a game. You practice hard, you got a game. Then you might have a day off. Then you come right back to it. So I feel like your body just built the callus, and that you were prepared for a long and rough season, to where injuries, like, you know, there wasn't that many injuries. There wasn't time to take a load off because you felt good to play. You know what I mean? It's almost the reverse. They think by giving us time off, it's helped managing our bodies. But in honesty, I think it's just making us weaker as players without putting that load and strain to our bodies.
And Paul George might be correct, but the increase of players who simply cannot stay on the court is a steady trend that's been going on for decades now. Back in 2000, Dr. Chad Starkey of Northeastern University conducted a study on the rate of injuries throughout the NBA, dating from 1989 to 1997. His study found that in that 10-year span, there was a 12.4% increase in game-related injuries around the league. And this problem is only getting worse each season. Not too long ago, if a player was consistently missing 10 games or more in a season, they were considered injury prone. They were unreliable. Now playing 70 games or less in a season is considered the norm. In fact, if a high caliber player isn't missing double-digit games in a season, most people think he's going to be burned out before the playoffs even begin. Just look at this year's All-Stars and how many games they've missed so far this season. There are currently 18 All-Stars who have already missed double-digit games this season. Which may not sound like much, but 20 years ago, out of the entire NBA All-Star roster, only 3 players missed double-digit games throughout the entire season. This is absurd. And right about now, some of you may be thinking, well, a lot of those games were missed due to load management. But the whole purpose of load management is to reduce the risk of injury. So if not for load management, there's a good chance that these numbers could be
don't want to hoop
higher.
for it, that's
But
it.
despite this, the NBA has moved mountains to try and preserve their players' health. The league has reduced the number of back-to-back games, they've trimmed down the travel times, they've adjusted multiple defensive rules to help protect their players from getting hurt, and they've practically turned a blind eye to load management taking place around the league. Combine all of this with advancements in shoe technology, training, and recovery, and one could only wonder how players in the past could possibly stay healthy when players in today's NBA seem to be breaking down more often than ever before. Well, I think it boils down to two relatively simple factors: mileage and the evolution of the game. As many experts and fans have theorized, this newer generation of NBA players have put such an extreme amount of wear and tear on their bodies at such a young age that it's only a matter of time before something gives. Most of these players have put in so many hours through youth leagues, AAU, private training, and college that by the time they're in the league, they have put the same mileage on their legs and ligaments as a player well into his NBA career in previous generations. I look at it almost like a shelf life, a clock. Every athlete has a shelf life for their athletic career. For some,
Shit, if
it
you
could
don't
be
put in the
30
work,
years.
shit, where you gonna
For
be?
others, it could be 10. But once you start training and playing at a high level, the clock starts. Now, there's ways you can prolong this clock, like proper nutrition and training, but there's also ways to speed up this clock, like overuse and chronic injury. And eventually, when this clock times out, there's really nothing you can do to go back. From that point on, every move you make will be at the risk of injury. NBA players today not only started their clocks much sooner than players in the past, but they are also constantly speeding up their clock with nagging and sometimes even severe injuries. And as we stated before, the second and most overlooked aspect of this whole thing is
It's
the
all
evolution
just,
of
it's
the
really just niggas don't know how to control their body on the
At
court.
the NBA
Like,
level, basketball
they
is
keep
played
doing the
so
same
fast
shit, rolling
and
their
so
ankle.
hard with so many violent cuts and redirections and weird, awkward movements that
Hey,
even the
hey,
best
hey.
athletes in the
Hey.
world can only take so much. At some point, all these jarring movements are gonna take a toll. The game has slowly evolved from straight lines and 94 feet of simple one-motion actions to
Damn.
very complex, side-to-side, straining, aching, injury-inducing movements.
Oh my
And it's
fucking
clear
gosh.
that no amount of load managing or training or improvements in
Tyrese,
technology can prevent it. I don't know what the solution is. And quite honestly, I don't think anyone does. These players are designed to play this game, but the game may not be designed for them anymore.
Hey, niggas gonna have to toughen up, soldier. I ain't gonna cap. But if y'all like the video, like, comment, subscribe, check out everything that I would love to next time we out. Peace.